Hi, welcome to another DARS video lesson. This tutorial is going to take you through how you can add your guests to an event once you've created your event and you now have an invite. So by now you should have created your invitations that you're going to send out to your event. If you're not sure how to do that, check out the video on creating invitations using export definitions. So picking up from the last scenario, we've created our invitation on DARS and now we need to record that invitation against the event and invite our guests. Inviting guests to our event can be done in 3 very easy steps. Step 1 is to put the invitation letter into a package. Step 2 will be to create a selection that will be your invitee list. And the last step will be to link the package and the selection together in the event. When you created your invitation, you stored that as a direct marketing letter on DARS. So if you think of the direct marketing letter as being your invitation, the package that you need to create is like the envelope that you would put the invitation into. So step 1 will be to add a mail package, or create our metaphorical envelope if you will. Remember, when you're entering in the names, always use the naming convention so you know which files are yours later on down the line. You might notice something on the screen called a source code. This is automatically generated and can come in handy in the future when using the more advanced features of marketing and communications. For now though, insert your letter into the package and also notice that DARS knows that your export definition is linked to that letter. Okay, so step 2. Now we need to create a selection that's going to form our invitee list for our event. Here you can see I have a query which gives me a list of all the alumni from St Peter's College. Remember, whenever you're putting queries together, always include suppressions. So for events, I'm going to include an event suppression. At this stage you'll also want to state whether or not you want a static or dynamic selection. If you're not sure what either of these terms mean, please refer to the DARS training materials and manuals for more information. So step 1 and step 2 were pretty quick to complete. The final step, step 3, just involves bringing all 3 elements together: our event, our invitations and our guests. So navigate to your main event, go to your invitation tab and then click add. When naming anything on DARS, remember to use your naming conventions, as this is going to help you find your files later on in the future. So name the invitation, add a description, and put in an expected mail date. This is basically the date you anticipate to send the event. Click onto the Processing Options tab. This is where we can make some more advanced settings to our invitation. So select what channel that we're going to send this out by. I'm going to select mail in this case. I'm now going to link my mail package into this invitation, and I'm also going to select my address processing. You've now created your invitation on DARS. The next thing to do is to add your guests to your invitee list. The way that we're going to do this is by clicking on the invitation and then selecting the Event Invitation Page button at the top. Now we're faced with the option of either entering single constituents or multiple constituents. I'm going to select the option to use multiple constituents, and I'm going to use the selection that I created earlier, which is my invitee list, to populate my screen with my guests. I simply search DARS to find the selection that I created earlier, and I add this. At this stage, if I have multiple guest lists that I'd like to include to my event, I simply repeat this process and add additional selections. Okay, so I've now brought the 3 elements together: my event, my invitation, and my guests. The last thing that I'd like to do then is to send these invitations out by clicking on the Send button. Now that the send process is completed, this should have merged all of my constituents' records with the fact that the invitation has been sent to them. What I'm now going to do is merge all of my DARS data into my Word template. This will create the invitations that I can either print off or send off to the printing house. Voila, you're done! You now have a bunch of professional looking invitations that have been populated with data from DARS. Now when reviewing a constituent's record, You can view them as an event registrant and you should find that your invitation will appear on their list. So there you have it. In 3 easy steps we've added guests to an event. Step 1 was simply to put the invitation into a package. Step 2 was to create a selection that will be our invitee list. And step 3 was to link the package and the selection in our event. We hope that you found this tutorial useful. If you need more information, go to www.admin.ox.ac.uk/DARS or email us at darstraining@admin.ox.ac.uk.